Welcome to Real Easy English.
In this program, we have real conversations in easy English to help you practice listening and learn new words and phrases. I'm Beth.
And I'm Neil. In each episode, we talk in English about a different topic that you need for everyday speaking. If you want to read along, you can visit our website. Hello, Beth.
Hi, Neil. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. What are we talking about today?
Well, today's episode is all about family. We'll be talking about who is in our families and comparing them.
Okay, great. So, what do we mean when we say comparing our families, Beth?
Well, when we compare two things, we look at them and see if they are the same or different. And we can compare things in different ways, but we often do it with adjectives.
Okay, let's start the conversation.
So, Neil, how big is your family?
It's probably average, really. I have one sister, but she has 3 kids and I have 2 kids. So when we get together with my parents, there are a few of us. And it's not tiny, it's not huge.
Okay, yeah. I think my family is definitely smaller than yours because I don't have any brothers or sisters. I am an only child. So when I get together with my family, it's very small because I also only have one cousin and she is an only child as well, so my family's tiny.
Okay, and what is your family like? It's small, but what's it like?
It is small, but we're very close, so we see each other quite often. We are a bit silly. We like to go out and have food and play games, and we can be quite loud, even though there aren't many of us.
Okay, it sounds like you get on well with your family. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love spending time with my cousin, and she has 2 children. What about you? Do you get on well with your sister?
Yes, I get on well with my sister. We don't see each other very often because we don't live in the same place. But when we see each other, we have a nice time. We catch up and chat. So, Beth, we have used the expression get on well with someone. What does that mean?
Well, that means that you have a good relationship with them. So if you get on well with your sister, it means when you're together, you're happy, you're not fighting. It's easy to have good conversation. You don't really have any arguments. Maybe when you were a child, you didn't get on well with your sister. I don't know.
Yes, I think now that we are grown-ups, it's easier to get on well with your sibling. When I was a kid, maybe I was a bit mean to her.
Oh dear. So Neil, your sister has 3 children.
Yeah.
What are the ages of them?
Well, for a start, they're all boys.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that sounds very difficult.
And the oldest one is 17. And he has just done his driving test. It's difficult to believe because he's the oldest. He's always been the oldest, but now he's almost an adult.
And is he the oldest, including your children? So out of all the kids, he's the oldest?
He is, yeah.
So in my family, my cousin has 2 children, and they are 5 and 2. So
little ones.
Yeah, they are the youngest in the family, but I was the youngest in my family until they came along, and I am 32, so I was used to being the youngest, but I'm not the youngest anymore. Now we've got little ones.
Oh, well. Are you sad?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, let's quickly recap the vocabulary we learned in this conversation.
We learnt compare, which means to look at 2 things to see if they are the same or different.
Bigger and smaller, which are ways to compare the size of something.
Youngest and oldest, which are ways to talk about the age of someone or something.
And we looked at get on well with someone, which means to have a good relationship with them.
Thanks for listening to Real Easy English. Visit our websites for more activities and courses to help you with your English. bbclearningenglish.com.
Next time, we'll talk about food and some of our favourite meals to eat.
Delicious. See you then. Bye.
Goodbye.
Hi, Neil.
Hi, Beth. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm pretty good, yes.
Good. What are we talking about today?
Well, today we are talking about food. In particular, we'll talk about our favourite foods and how often we eat them.
What an amazing topic. I have so much to say about food. You said how often. What do we mean by how often we eat something?
Good question. How often means how many times we eat our favourite food. So we might eat them every week, every day, or if we really like a food, we might eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, every meal.
So, Neil, what is your favourite food?
Well, that's a really difficult question, but I really like fish.
Me too. I was going to say that, but actually, I really love seafood. So I think I'd say any kind of dish with seafood in it, I absolutely love.
So how often do you eat seafood, Beth?
Well, not very often, actually. I have it when I go on holiday, and I have it in restaurants sometimes, but I don't really cook seafood at home. What about you? How often do you have fish?
Oh, probably a few times a week.
Really?
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, we eat a lot of fish.
We sometimes have fish at home. I normally have it once or twice a week.
Right.
But yeah, I never have seafood at home, actually.
Yeah, okay. So what is your least favourite food?
Oh, I absolutely hate baked beans.
You hate baked beans?
I think they're disgusting. I can't even... The smell of them even makes me feel a bit sick.
Oh, okay.
So we've talked about the foods that we really like and the foods that we don't like. But in a general week, what do you normally cook?
Often we'll eat Indian curries, but also Italian pasta dishes or Spanish dishes, and then sometimes more traditional British roast dinner kind of thing.
Yeah, I think generally we have the same at home. Like, we eat a lot of food from different countries, but I have to say I usually cook quite a lot of pasta and quite a lot of rice at home in general, just because they cook really quickly.
So, Beth, you generally eat rice and pasta dishes. What does that mean, generally?
Well, we use generally and usually and normally for habits or things that we do a lot. So, for example, if I generally cook pasta or rice, that means maybe 5 times out of the 7 in a week, I would say.
Okay, so that's most of the time. If we use sometimes, we mean that we do it less than generally.
Yeah, sometimes might be 2 or 3 times a week. I guess it depends on what you're talking about. But for example, with me, I sometimes cook fish. Like I said, I have it maybe twice a week. So I would say that's sometimes.
Beth, you said that you hate baked beans. So do you ever eat baked beans?
Never. No, I can't stand them. So I never, ever have baked beans.
Well, never is something that we don't do. We just don't ever do it. I can't believe you don't like baked beans. Beans on toast is a classic.
It is, but no, not for me. Let's quickly recap the vocabulary we learnt during the conversation. We learnt often, which means we do something a lot. And we learnt how often, which we use to ask someone how many times they do something.
Usually, normally, and generally, which are all ways to talk about things we do a lot.
Sometimes, which we can use to talk about things we do, but not always or often.
And never. To talk about things we don't do, like eat beans, Beth.
Yes, just like I never eat baked beans. Ugh, horrible.
How are you today, Neil?
I'm very well, thank you, Georgie. What are we talking about in this episode?
Today is all about friends. We'll talk a bit about our friends and why they are important.
Great, let's get started.
So, Neil, do you have a lot of friends?
Yes, I do have quite a few friends. How about you?
Yes, I also have quite a lot of friends. I've lived in different places, so I have made friends in lots of different areas and times of my life.
So, Georgie, you said that you have lived in lots of places, and I know you have lived in Spain. So do you have lots of friends in Spain?
Yes, I have a few friends in Spain, but now that I live in London, it's quite difficult to stay in touch with them. But actually, one of them is coming to visit this weekend.
Ah, so you try to keep in touch with some of your friends. That means to keep contact with them, to make sure that you stay friends by speaking to them.
Yes, exactly. And if you have a lot of friends, it can be difficult to stay in touch with so many. What do you like to do with your friends, Neil?
Well, I like to talk to them mainly. So I like to meet them maybe in a pub or a restaurant, or we go to a sports match sometimes and we talk there and have a good time.
That sounds nice.
How about you?
Yes, I'm the same. During the week, I think a nice plan is to go out for dinner with friends. At the weekends, I like going for a walk or getting a coffee with friends.
You can do both of those at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes I meet friends, we get a coffee to take away, and then go for a walk around the park.
And are you happy about the number of friends you have, or would you like to have more or fewer?
I always like making new friends. If you start a new hobby or you move to a different place, there are always more people and new people to meet. I like making friends. What about you?
Yes, but I like to see my old friends, and if I make new friends, I know it's something that happens slowly, and that's okay. Now, we have used this word friends a lot, but there are other words for friends too, aren't there?
Yes, one is mate. I use mate a lot. We also use pal. So sometimes I refer to my friends that are girls as gal pals.
Gal pals, that's a nice expression.
So Neil, why are friends important to you?
Ah, yes, good question. Friends are important, I think, because you can be yourself with your friends. You don't have to pretend if they're good friends because they know you as you are. And that's not the same everywhere that you go in life.
Yep, that's true.
Let's recap the language we learned during the conversation.
We learned mates and pals, which are other words for friends.
We heard keep in touch with, which means see or speak to someone regularly. We also say stay in touch.
And a few, which means more than two, but not many. So I have a few friends in Spain, but not many.
Thanks for listening to Real Easy English. Visit our website for more activities and courses to help you with your English.